Okay, so let's do parallel and perpendicular lines first. All right, so our parallel lines. Okay, parallel lines, we know what they look like, right? Two lines that go any angle, they don't cross each other. All right, deal is what? They have the same slope, and then they have a different y-intercept. All right, now that ought to make sense to you. All right, if I were to put the x and y axis on what I drew right here, all right, there would be one y-intercept, and then there would be the other y-intercept. They're different. Okay, otherwise, if their y-intercepts are not different on the same slope, then it would end up being the exact same line. Okay, so that we ought to know just basic part of that. Okay, perpendicular. All right, I wrote the symbol up there. Okay, the symbol, the geometric symbol for it. Upside down T, parallel lines, is generally denoted with two lines up and down. Okay, just from geometry, you should recognize those two symbols. All right, now perpendicular lines form what kind of angle? 90, a right angle right there. Okay, and I happen to draw it just like our x and y axis, but it doesn't have to be drawn that way. All right, so they have, you can call them a variety of different things. A lot of people will just say that they have opposite reciprocal slopes. Some will say negative reciprocal slopes. Some books will call it opposite reciprocal slopes. But in other words, you flip it and you take the opposite sign. So it has to be flipped and have the opposite sign. So if you can remember those two things, then you ought to be pretty good. All right, now they can, since the last section, section 1-4, covered standard form, slope intercept form, point slope form, all those different forms, then that's why that section was done first before this one. All right, so you should be able to look at any type of linear equation and be able to find the slope and find y-intercepts. Okay, so that will probably be the downfall. This part, you're not going to, I mean, you understand what perpendicular lines are, you understand what parallel lines are. It's once they give you an equation, can you find the numbers that you're supposed to be able to find? Okay, so let's suppose you do something like write the equation, and then they might give you the specific form, like in point slope form. So that tells you what form your answer should be in. Write the equation in point slope form of the line. And then they're either going to say parallel or perpendicular. So we'll start with parallel. Parallel to, let's do 2x minus 3y equals, let's say, 12. And passes through, let's say, 6, 3. Key things you have to know. You got to catch the fact that they told you parallel, which means what? Same slope. Okay, and different y-intercepts. And then your answer is going to be point slope form. So I need a point and I need a slope. All right, now, did they not give me a point? They gave me a point. So out of this point slope form, I have a point. Okay, now I need to come up with the slope of that line. Okay, so first of all, what form is that in? Standard. Okay, and if you actually watched my videos and did it the way I taught you, all right, the way my lecture notes are all lined up, what's the formula for the slope of a line in standard form? Ooh, somebody might be saying it and I can't hear because of the mask. Yeah, that's standard form. Let me write it right here. AX plus BY equals C. All right, C on the other side equals 0 is general form. But what's the formula for slope?
Is it negative A over B?
Negative A over B. Yes. All right. You had to have watched the videos yesterday. You had to have like downloaded the notes from yesterday to be able to get that. It's negative A over B. And it might not even been there. I don't know where it was. It was someplace. All right. So that's the easiest way to do it if you memorize what the formulas are. Let's do x-intercept, C over A, y-intercept, C over B. All right, so all of that, and the reason now, somebody said slope-intercept form. All right, most of the time you're taught in Algebra 1 to take whatever equation you have in whatever type and, oh, just put it in slope-intercept form, and then the slope comes out and the y-intercept comes out really, really easy. All right, but what if you go to manipulate this algebraically and you make a silly mistake? You add the numbers wrong, you divide by something wrong. All right, then all that algebra, all right, you are more likely to make a mistake. So if, when it's in this form, ax plus by equals c, if you memorize your formulas for slope, x-intercept, y-intercept, all I got to do is look at these two numbers. All right, here's a, here's b. The formula says negative a. So negative 2 over a negative 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. So I can get the slope, if I have this memorized, I can get the slope of this line in like really fast. I don't have to rewrite it in slope-intercept form. Okay, now, if I'm parallel, do I want to use this slope or a different slope? Same slope, right? So here's the slope. Here's the point. So point slope form. So y minus 3 equals same slope. And then opposite, x minus 6. So not a lot of work if they tell you point slope form, because we're going to be dealing with the slope. We're going to be dealing with a point. So it goes really quick. All right, now, did everybody write this down? Because I just scribbled it on over here because you kind of look like you had no clue what I was talking about. All right, number, right? Okay, so we understand what this is. C over A, x-intercept. The way I remember this formula for the x-intercept is that the x and y-intercepts are always C over something and C over something. All right, well, if I want x-intercept, it's going to be C over A because A is the coefficient of x. It's going to be the y-intercept C over B because that's the coefficient for the y, so y-intercept, okay? All right, now let's do another one. Now, this is what the sentences are going to look like, okay? We're not going to write the sentence every time, all right? They're going to probably tell you what form. They'll tell you parallel, perpendicular, and they'll give you some information, okay? So I don't want to have to rewrite that over and over and over and over and over. Okay, so should I go to a new piece of paper? Yeah, I'm kind of crowded. Okay. All right, so let's do parallel again. And let's say we want the answer in slope-intercept form when I'm done. So answer will be in slope-intercept form. I want it to be parallel. All right, and I want it to be parallel to, let's do this. Let's go y equals -1/4 x minus 5. And let's say it goes through the point 8, -2. Okay, now I want the line that is parallel. I want the equation of the line that's parallel to this line, goes through this point, and is final answer in slope-intercept form. Now, what's the easiest way to start with? The easiest form always to start with is point slope. Okay, always. I don't care what my final form needs to be in. I always want to start in point slope because those are the two things I'm going to know. I know this point. Now, can you look at this equation and tell me what the slope is really fast? Yeah, because that one's an easy one, right? So the slope here is a -1/4. Parallel means I use same slope and I use this point. Okay, so y, is it going to be -2 or +2? plus 2. It's parallel, so I want same slope. And then opposite on the 8. Now, the only thing is I can't stop there this time because they said to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So now this is just manipulating good old-fashioned algebra. Distribute here. So negative 1/4 x. What's negative 1/4 times the negative 8? Positive 2. All right, and then minus 2, and then minus 2. 2's fall out, right? So y equals negative 1/4 x. All right, do I have to put plus 0 in there? I don't. Is it still in slope-intercept form even without the plus 0? Yes. Okay, so they can tell you to write it in any form they want. All right, and then they can give you the line that you're going parallel or perpendicular to in any form they want. Okay, so that's the thing. You've just got to be really proficient at all your different forms. Okay. Now, maybe, have we talked about general form in here yet? Probably not. Okay. All right. Some pre-calc books will start talking about a general form of a linear equation. It's not very popular. Okay. It's not necessarily very popular, but if you see general form in your homework or in your textbook somewhere, all right, general form is just, and here I'll color code it, some number x plus some number y plus another number is equal to 0. So it's really, really close to standard form. See, it's just on the left-hand side. All right. But if they say something about general form, you put all the terms on the left-hand side. So I could put this in general form. Can I move this to the other side and put it first and then keep my y term? And then would there be a c in this one? There's not going to be a c in this one. And then couldn't I set it equal to 0? And I could put this in this form if I wanted to. All right. So I don't know how much Math Excel uses that general form, but if it does, put your x term first on one side of the equation, put the y term next on the same side, put the constant on the same side, and in that order, and you're in general form. That's all there is to it. Okay. Just thought we'd throw that in there before we went 2 more. All right. So again, we're going to write the equation. That is this time, let's say perpendicular. All right. Let's say it's perpendicular to, I've done standard form, I've done slope-intercept form. Let's do y minus 4 is equal to a 4/5 x plus a 6. All right, so let's say perpendicular to this line goes through the point -6, -2. And then I want you to write it in, we've done point slope, we've done slope-intercept, let's write it in standard form. Okay, so answers in standard form. I want it parallel to this line going through this point. Okay, so that means you got to be able to look at the equation in this form and be able to pull out what the slope is. What's the slope of this line? 4/5. All right, so the slope is 4/5. All right, but I want it perpendicular, so I don't use 4/5. I use -5/4. So flip it and take the opposite. So you're going to use the flipped version and the opposite sign. Now, am I still going to use the same point? Still going to use the same point. All right. And if I have a point and a slope, then when I initially write my answer, I'm always going to use point slope form because those are the 2 things I have on every one of these. All right. So here, opposite. So y plus 2. Use the flipped negative slope, -5/4. Come up here to the x coordinate, do the opposite of that, x plus 6. All right, and then yes, it can get kind of nasty, okay, because these fractions are not necessarily going to be really nice. Okay, This is the answer in point slope form, but I need it in standard form. So I'm going to distribute. So y plus 2, negative 5 force x. All right, and then I would probably just leave it negative 30 over 4. Isn't that the easiest way if we're kind of trying to do this as much as possible without calculators? Now, if I want standard form, what? My x term has to go to the left, and my 2 has to go to the right, because I need the x and y terms on the left, and I need a constant on the right. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this over here, and I'm going to put it automatically in front, right? Because I know my x term has to go in front. So I'm going to add 5 force x to that side. So 5 force x. I'm going to keep the y. All right, and then I need to do what? I need to subtract 2, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to take 30 over 4 and subtract 2. Negative 30 over 4 and subtract 2. I mean, I could. I just don't want to. So negative 30 over 4 minus 2. All right, so negative 9.5. All right, now negative, I said this was negative 9 1/2. So what is a mixed number? It'd be negative 19 over 2. Can y'all do that? Are y'all following me? This is basic arithmetic. Okay, now this looks like ax plus by equals c, right? So we're all in the right order, but there's another catch. All right, in standard form, and where would be a good place to write this because I'm running out of room. All right, in standard form, we already said it was ax plus by equals c. There's a condition, okay? A has to be a positive integer. And a lot of people ignore that, and a lot of textbooks ignore that. All right, a lot of people like leave that part out. All right, but standard form, that has to be a positive integer. Okay, so is it positive? Yeah, so I'm good with the positive. Is 5 fourths an integer? It's not, because it's a fraction, right? Could I get rid of the fraction by multiplying through by a least common denominator? Because we've been doing that a lot, right? If you want to get rid of fractions, you multiply through by the least common denominator. All right, I'm going to multiply by the 4 because I want this one to go away. So I'm going to multiply by 4. And as long as I do it to every term, I'm not altering it at all. Okay, so the 4's cross out. That would leave me with 5x, positive integer, 4 times the y, 4y. Okay, now can we do this in our head? 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 2 times 19, 38. So negative 38. Did I multiply that right? Yeah, I think so. 2, 3, negative 38. So now I am in standard form. If I double checked my slope is supposed to be negative 5 fourths. Can I look at this and do negative a over b really quick? Negative a over b, do I get negative 5 fourths? So I didn't alter it. I didn't screw up when I changed it. All right, believe it or not, this was all algebra 1. So you did this probably 4 years ago. All right, you might have reviewed it in algebra 2. All right, but for the most part, should be good. Okay,